Oh, I hope I'm having a good hair day today. I think I am. All right, what are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about testing speakers on YouTube. So, hi, welcome back to Sound Approach. I am Trevor. Today we are talking about testing speakers on YouTube, which I just said literally 6 seconds ago. We are going to be talking about this subject because it has come up a couple of times in our comment section. We've had some viewers comment that they're frustrated by the fact that I do not test the speakers on YouTube. Like I don't play them for you. And there is a reason that I don't do that. I consciously made the decision a long time ago when I first started the channel that I would not play the speakers on the channel. And the reason for that is because there are so many variables that go into how something sounds. And one of them, which is super important, is signal processing. Signal processing can really impact sound quality. We've talked about it with CD players, with lossless signals. We've talked about it with records, how vinyls are also a lossless form. However, there is stuff impacting the signal, like the cartridge, the stylus, the electronics, the phono stage. There's all sorts of things that can impact the signal. The equalization of the RIAA curve, all that stuff affects how the sound is perceived. With YouTube, all those things that affect the sound quality are magnified and exponentially so. And the reason for that is because of the platform that I'm recording on, because of the microphone that I'm using to collect the sound, because of how YouTube processes the signal at the end of the day. It's not lossless signal, it's compressed signal, so it changes the sound quality. What you're hearing right now is not what I actually sound like. So if I were to play these speakers for you, it's not actually how the speakers sound. The other thing that impacts it is what you're listening on. If you're watching this video on your phone and you're listening to it from the speaker out of the phone, you're going to get the quality of the microphone or the speaker, excuse me, that's at the bottom of your phone, which is a tiny little driver like that, right? You'll hear it differently if you're listening on headphones. You'll hear it differently if you've got it connected to your TV and you're listening through your surround system. Testing these speakers through your phone's microphone is not a viable way of choosing speakers. Now, I know there are other channels out there that do play them and then talk about them, and that's fine and that's their choice. But I would hope that our viewers understand that listening to the music is a different experience than listening to it through my ears, right? What you perceive is going to be different than what I perceive. And what I can show you and demonstrate is going to be much different than the reality of what the speakers may be capable of. So if I talk about the codas, which are right here, I can talk about the clarity, the sound stage, the imaging, the transparency, the depth. And for audiophiles out there, many of you already know what I'm talking about. For people who are not as well versed in the audiophile community and the types of language that we use to describe sound, then you'll have a harder time understanding, and it'll be basically if you trust my review or not. And that's why I try to be as open and honest about the things that I like and the things that I don't like. And I try to differentiate each piece to be able to describe it in a way that makes sense to me, because that's how I'm perceiving it. So there are things that I prefer. I have different preferences in music. I have different genres that I like to listen to. I have different specific songs that I like to test. There are a few that are kind of universal, like Bohemian Rhapsody. I've never met a person who didn't like that song. So that's a fantastic song. Also, it's got everything in it. It's got instrumentals, it's got orchestral, it's got vocals, it's got really good vocals. There's a lot of different small details that are in there that you can perceive or not perceive with a good or bad pair of speakers, or headphones, or whatever it is that I'm listening to. So when I talk about what I think about a piece, I'm doing it from that perspective. Now, I understand that people can become frustrated by the fact that I don't demo the speakers on the channel, but I don't want to limit what somebody may think about the speakers based on what they hear from their phone or their $20 headphones. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. because this is something that I care about now. It is not something that I worried about 8 years ago when I first started Sound Approach, because I didn't understand how different things could impact the sound quality. I probably would have listened to them on YouTube too and not worried about it or thought about it. So there are different things that go into my thought process when I'm reviewing products versus when I'm trying to present my perceptions of products. And I hope that that makes sense. But I wanted to clear it up because it has come up a few times in the comments where people were frustrated that I wasn't demoing the speakers. But there is a reason, and I think it's a good reason, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not going to demo speakers. So if that's something that you're looking for, you're not going to get it from this channel. But I will talk about what I think about speakers. And hopefully new releases like the Coda W and the Tivoli Audio Model 1 Digital Gen 3. I'll even talk about their names, which sometimes I don't like. I'll talk about what I dislike about products because I think that's important too. There's elements to products that make them good and there's elements to products that make them bad, but a lot of it is perception and a lot of it is use. What you need it for, what you plan to use it for, what your room is like. Everybody's situation and everybody's perceptions are different. So how I perceive something may be the exact opposite of how you perceive it. So that's it in a nutshell. I wanted to talk about that because I thought it was an important subject and I want to get it out there how I feel about it. I don't know how other reviewers really feel about it. I mean, I've seen some reviewers that will play music for 30 minutes and then they'll talk about it. I've seen some that will put little clips in of what the music sounds like from their end. But again, I know deep in my heart that that's not what it sounds like. You can't get the bass response from a piece of, or you can't get the bass response of a set of speakers through your phone. It's just not possible. It's just not. You can't hear the soundstage or the imaging. If somebody says, oh, this says great soundstage, you're not going to hear that on your phone or you're not going to hear that on your tablet. You just have to take their word for it, you know, because you can't really measure that kind of stuff when you're testing for somebody else. Does that make, I hope that makes sense. Anyways, that's it. That's my 2 cents on the subject. So check out soundapproach.com. I think I'm going to turn this one into a blog because I think it makes sense as a blog. It's useful information and I want it out there. So I'm going to put it out there because that's my job. So I'm going to write a blog and an article about this video and everybody will see it that way. And I doubt that anybody even reached it to this point, right? Maybe my parents because they like my videos. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bearing with me through this one. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.